What we're going to do here is show you how to use Planboard, which is an online daybook for teachers. The first thing you'll need to do is log in to planboard.chalk.com. So if you head to that site, you'll see that once you're here, you can sign in using a number of providers. We're going to sign using Google. So if you click the login using Google button down the bottom, then what that will do is redirect you to your Google login. You can then sign in. And because we're already signed into Chrome using our Google account, it's let me straight through to the Chalk Planboard. And the first step now is to set up a semester. Your semester is the timeline where you're going to keep the same set of classes. So because this is 2018, we're going to call this semester 2018. You can set a start date. It's the 14th of May at the moment, so we're going to go from the 14th of May and then an end date. And so we're going to jump to the end of December, and our school is going to finish on the 7th of December, so we're going to choose that date. So that's going to create our semester for 2018. We can then choose which days we actually want to set up for teaching. So we won't teach on a Saturday or Sunday, so we're going to leave those blank, and then we're going to save and continue. Once you've created a semester, you then need to start adding subjects to that semester. Push up in the top right hand corner to add your first subject. So if we push plus, you can see here that we're then going to add a subject. So this is a class that we're going to teach. So the first class I'm going to teach is going to be computer studies. And then you can choose a color for the classes that are going to be the computer studies classes. You'll see it's defaulted to green, but if you want to change that class to different color, you simply click on the color here. You can also search for curriculum sets. So if I search for some New South Wales syllabuses, you'll see there's a number of outcomes that have already been entered into Planboard. For the purposes of this video, though, we're not going to worry about any outcomes. If you're teaching more than one class the same subject, you can also use sections. So if you have two classes in computer studies that learn the same or go through the same lesson content, then you can create a section for each class. I'm just going to stick with the one section for the one subject and press save. Now we can actually start to set up our Planboard. So I'm going to go into Planboard. And once we're in Planboard, you'll see that the rotation schedule is going to be set up. So what we can do here is set up our timetable. So we're going to set up a 2-week timetable. So I'm just going to say OK to all of the dialog boxes here. And you can see at the moment the rotation schedule is set for weekly. We're going to run a 2-week schedule. And you can see it's given me days called A, B, C, D, E in week number 1. And then in week B, it's given me days for that second week as well. And so I can set up different days or different timetables for each week of my rotation. Once you want to add that class, you can see my computer studies class is over here, and at the moment I have no schedule. What I can simply do is press the plus button, and you'll see that it's asking me what days and what times this class runs. So if I have a class running from 9:30 till 10:30 on Monday of week A and Wednesday of week A and Friday of week A, then I'd simply select those. If I then say schedule class, it'll put that class into those 3 dates. You can drag these classes up and down on the timetable. So the easiest way to actually add the classes is to put them onto the timetable on the right day and then drag them to the correct time for that day. And that way you can see the times for each of these classes as I drag them are moving around. Now that we've got those classes onto the correct day and the correct time, we're going to come up here to the right hand side and we're going to save and continue. You could then go to week B and start adding the schedule for week B. That takes a little bit of time, so for today I'm just going to save and continue, and then I'm going to show you how to actually start using the Planboard. So let's save, and that will take us through to, you can see the first day, Monday the 14th of May today, and we can then start to plan this lesson. So you can see it's running from 10:15 to 11:15. Up here in the top right hand corner, you can see we can plan a day, a week, or a month. So if we go to our week view, then it's going to give me those 3 classes, one on the Monday, one on the Wednesday, and one on the Friday. And as we had other classes scheduled on our timetable, they would also appear within this week view. If we go back to our day view to show today, then we can simply click, give this lesson a title. So let's call this our Planboard demo lesson. And then you can see down here we can click to edit, and we can start typing directly into this little box, and we can plan our lesson. So now we've got our timetable into Planboard, we can start to use some of the extra features to make it a little bit easier to plan. So one of the great features is a template. So if you go to the navigation bar up in the top left-hand corner of Planboard, you'll see that under the Planboard heading, there's the option to go to your timetable, or you can go to templates. You can apply templates to all of the lessons within your timetable, meaning that you can set up a structure that you use when you're planning your lessons, and it will automatically appear for every lesson. So let's go to our templates, and once they load, you'll see that we can create a brand new template. So let's say create a new template, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a very simple template. It's going to have a learning intention section, a success criteria section. Then we could set up a section for our homework, which is due this lesson, any strategies if we're using this lesson. And then we could also set up a section for an evaluation of our lesson. Now you can see at the moment, all of these are just in plain text. I have left an empty line beneath each of my headings just to make it simple. But you can also improve the appearance a little bit. You can see I've just left 2 lines here, and then I'm going to choose to insert a horizontal line under my learning intention. And I'm going to do the same under my success criteria, the same under my homework due. Below my strategies, I've put a homework line, and that way those sections are now broken up into a much better appearance. Then I'm going to highlight my learning intention. At the moment, it's just a default paragraph. I'm going to change that to heading 2, so it's not too big, and I'm going to change each of my headings to become a style using heading 2. Now you could use heading 1. I just don't like heading 1 because it's very large on the screen, and heading 2 gives me a little bit more space. And so now I've created this template which I can then assign to particular classes. I'm going to give this template a name so I remember what it is, and I'm just going to call it Learning Intentions, or LI template. Okay. And then what we can do is we can say assign to classes up here in the top right hand corner. If you have multiple classes in your timetable, then they would all be listed here. So we've only got 1 semester, 1 teaching period, and 1 class. So I'm just going to say to apply that to computing studies. You'll see that it ticks. And when I close that, I've now assigned that template to all of those classes. So if I now go back to my Planboard using the navigation bar, you'll see that when I get to my timetable, for Monday, I've now got that timetable template applied to this lesson. And if I quickly show you my week view, you'll see that that template has been applied to all of my lessons. You can also set up units, so you can see up here in the top right hand corner, my computing studies unit is Planboard. So let's give that unit number 1, and we'll call this Planboard. I'm hitting caps lock too much, and say create. And so you'll see that unit number 1 has now been assigned to this lesson, and this is the Planboard demo lesson. If we said that our second lesson here was also in the same unit, and it was also a Planboard intro lesson, and let's say this one here was our 3rd lesson in our unit, and it was Planboard advanced. When I then go to the unit view up here in the top right hand corner, you'll see that it actually lets me choose the computing studies section, and I can see the layout of my units over here on the right hand side. And if I choose to show that unit and then click on the unit, you'll see that I can actually start to give more details, apply descriptions for that unit, and outcomes for that unit, or standards is what Planboard calls them, and add unit resources that are then available across that unit as well. So you can start to plan that whole lesson in quite an advanced way. Let's go back to our week view, and you can see the template there. Can you add a template now to your Planboard lessons so that you can use that across your lessons?